at this thing.
I thought we said. Mara just walked by.
Okay, so real quickly, the gist of this is, so, and I use Braden as an example. If Braden's cells on his head decide they need to produce some more hair, right? Some protein, again, that's what it's talking about in the video there. You're a bunch of protein. His cells decide we got to make some more hair. And this thing called transcription has to start, and it's controlled by another enzyme called RNA polymerase. So what you see in the picture here is this would be like the section of Braden's DNA that has the information for making his hair. And so what would happen is that section would come apart, and then messenger RNA would be produced by this enzyme called RNA polymerase. So it would be, this section of Braden's DNA would be copied by something called messenger RNA, this is called transcription. So it's only going to unwind that section that's needed, right? Now let me ask this, would the cells in Braden's liver be reading the information for making his hair? No. It's there, right? The information's there in his liver cells. It's got every cell in your body has all your information, but it's not going to be, every cell's not using every piece of information. It's only going to use what it needs. You don't need to really write all this, but just look at the picture. So what ends up happening is you get this, that's the messenger RNA, this piece in here that's copying that section of his DNA to have the information for making hair. So it's going to copy, and just like in that video, they were tossing those things out the window. That piece of messenger RNA is going to leave the nucleus and go out to the cytoplasm and find a chef. Who is the chefs? What are the chefs in that video? The ribosomes, right? So that little recipe for Braden's hair is going to leave the nucleus, go out and find a ribosome that's going to cook it. It's going to make the hair. All right, so let's show you how to do that real quick. Okay. All right, I want you to write this, what I have written in green there, write that down. I know it's really sloppy, but just put DNA and write those letters. TAC, CTT, GAA, GCA. So just write those down. No idea what that thing is. Okay, now what we're going to do next is write down underneath that, write mRNA, and then follow what I'm doing. You're going to write down, again, this would be happening in Braden's cell. This section of information for his hair is going to open up, and it's going to be copied. So, again, what matches up with T? A. Now, here's where it's going to get tricky, because normally you would put a T here, but since this is RNA, you're going to put a U. And then C is with what?
G.
G. So you move on to the next one. C gets a G. What goes with T? A. Come over here. C, what pairs up with the A?
U.
Right on. Couple more U's. Got a C here, a G here, and a U right there. Okay, now this is where you really got to pay attention, because this is not hard, but if you don't pay attention, it gets a little confusing. So pay attention, please. gonna be a little hard for me to do. So the chart I just gave you, this chart was figured out by some people in the 1960s. Took them a long time, and they finally figured out the code that life uses. Proteins you should know this. Proteins are made of amino acids, right? You know this? Okay, so how life works is your cell, your ribosome is able to translate this code into amino acids, which is essentially protein. So, and again, back to brains, once that messenger RNA finds a ribosome to build the protein, it's going to start assembling amino acids, and that's going to make Braden's hair. Your hair, all of our hair, which I don't have much of, but it's amino acids. Your hair is chains of amino acids, the same way your muscles are, your ligaments, and your tendons, and everything like that. So here's how you use this chart. Okay, so do this. After every 3 of these, put a line, because that helps you to keep them. The code works in groups of 3. This is what took a while to figure out exactly how it worked. But how you look it up, so the first one, AUG, this is how you look it up. Find the first base on the left of that box. So find the letter A. That means that you're somewhere in that, well, I can use this one here. It means you're somewhere in this row. Okay? Then go to the second base across the top. What's the second base? It's U. So that's the first column. So that means that you're somewhere in this first column and in this row. So it's one of these 4 right here. And then the third base you find over here, which is G. And then you come back to here, and that tells you that it's this one called methionine. And so what you would do then, and that's what I want you to do, is to write down underneath this, write down the first 3 letters of the right amino acid. So it's MET. Goes with this. Okay, then you're going to look up GAA. So watch again. Find the first letter over here is G. And then find the next one across the top, which is another, well, actually it's an A. So you're going to go last row, and then go to the third column. So it's somewhere in this box right here. And then the last letter is A, so you look on the right side and find the A and come back. That tells you it's this one called glutamic acid, GAA, so you put that. You always just abbreviate the first 3 letters of the amino acid. Okay, now let me show you the other side. Flip the other side over. If you prefer this, there's 2 different kinds of charts, a square and a circle. So in the circle one, you let's look up CUU. So you go in the middle, you find the letter C, and then you just work your way out. So from C, then you go to U, and then you go to another U, and it tells you that it's leucine, so you put LEU. And then the last one, CGU, again, start in the middle and just work your way out. CGU is one called arginine. So you put ARG, okay? This is easy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so you have to first write out the messenger RNA, then you look it up on this chart, you write down the amino acids, boom. There's the protein, right? Okay. So let me give you one thing here. So I want you to try, you can start this right now. If you decide to be a slacker and don't work for the next 5 minutes, then I'm gonna have you finish the whole thing. For homework, probably rather not do that. So I want you to fill in the box here on the front. So it's got a sequence of DNA. You have to copy down the RNA and then look up the amino acids.
Wait, what?
Quite simple.
Which side's the front side?
The front side has the cow on it. So what you're looking at is it's a section of DNA from a human and the same kind of section from a cow. And you're just going to transcribe, write the RNA out, and then you're gonna.
So we just do 3 at a time?
That's what I do. If you do them in groups of 3, put a line between them, makes it easier to follow, so you don't get lost or start confusing letters. Cold back here, Jim?
It's freezing in your room.
You know, it only gets cold at the end of the day. I don't know why. It's not cold in here during the day. It's strange. Here, I'll show you a funny cartoon that you guys should understand now. Oops. Here. You guys appreciate this. You know, it's got some, little stealing going on here. So you look at this picture, right? So now you should understand this, right? So you got Sky and his girlfriend here adenine and thymine, but then you got, you got RNA here trying to work its way in with the U and the A, get it? Luke, you understand it? Luke? Yes. Only if you cover your nose. I don't want you to corona cooties. Oh no, you have to write the messenger RNA out first. It's just the normal base pairing rule, C with G, but it's normally going to be A with T, because there's no T in RNA, there's only a U. G, then you look these up. So G, G,
Yes.
U, so the first one is what? You don't like my writing?
Have you got that driver's license?
Is that what you're doing?
Yeah. Now we can go to
Except for one of
Yeah, what you're doing right now is called transcription and translation. So when you're figuring out the messenger RNA, that's called transcription. When you're figuring out the amino acids, it's called translation. Yes, sir. Can you get a what? Oh, so you put lines in here after every three. Just subsets, not continuum. And then you look these up on the chart here. So you go GGU. So you look at the first one here, the second one right up. Just G. And then G, something here. And then G.
My grandma has
And I think Cafe is right next to my door.
G,
Right at that level. Air.
more. So we can throw this, so it's not G, Because some people like the square, some people like the circle. All right, good job. Well done. So you seem to grasp it pretty good. Wait a minute, for the announcement. What? What class are you trying to get out of, Huh? Will they let you drop out of it in the middle of the year? You sure you're gonna give up concept? What? Be nice to the old lady.
I'll try. My Chloe.
Because I didn't like it.
Kathy texting you in the middle school? No?
Well, I guess you gotta give him 410.
Dude,
Don't give it a bonus
I'm
points. I'm starting to think he needs some kind of like
I'm 1,069
mental
away.
counseling or something. Huh?
I'm 1,069 away.
Trying to get 426. That's cooking.
Leo, don't give me that look. I've been tapping this
Please,
later
Leo, give him that look.
all day. I've pressed it 41,000 times.
Are you you're still off of quarantine, so you're gonna make it past Friday, Leo? Why, did somebody in basketball get the Rona?
Yeah. He hasn't been here a week, though.
See you, Booster.